Hi everyone. Now this is going to be a first for me. Basically I'm going to be tying, it's not exactly a first, I have tied big woolly bugger type flies to give impression of a worm, a ragworm. Basically, I don't know how many times I've been asked over the years, could I tie a ragworm pattern, especially for sea trout. The sea trout will feed on ragworms. They don't exclusively when they're mating, especially the ragworm come out and they're more likely to get obviously picked up with fish rather than where normally they'd be lying deep in the water. Now I've been looking through, the biggest issue I had was trying to find something that would give the impression of a ragworm that I had personally. Now I got some this material here, you see Predator9 I think that is, worm. This is a golden Caddis brown, which is, well, I've seen ragworms all different colours in the way, depending on from olive through to a really chestnut brown. So I've seen them a few different colours. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie like a snake, if you want to call it, type of pattern. Now the hook I'm using, this is a, you see it there, this one. This is a competition heavyweight black nickel and size 8. It's a barbless actually version, so it makes it easier actually to tie. Now I'm going to be just basically, there's my old reel, spare spool, about £30 backing. I'm going to be using this fluorescent orange backing. Now I've cut a length. Now ragworms can be quite long, but we can only tie them so long when we're, to make it easier to obviously fish. But you could tie them to the length you suit. They do shrivel up, they get thicker and then stretch out, so there could be a few different lengths. Now to attach the braid or the backing, as I say, it's £30. It's like a braid this actually. And braid would probably be worth using as well. Now what I'm going to do is just push it through. I'll maybe come in a wee bit closer. I may have to come in and out a wee bit here so you can see it a wee bit better. Now I've got the autofocus on, so again, because I'm doing that, it may zoom in and out. Normally I set the focus, but when I'm tying, now what I'm going to do here is take a length and then put the point of the hook into the braid. And being barbless, it's far easier to actually push in between, because it's like a, as I say, I wouldn't say it's hollow on the inside, but it opens out like a sock, if you want to call it. And you're going to go back and forward because you will come out the side. You just go in and out. Now I'm going down about the length of the shank or so. I don't want any longer than that. So just keep going, snaking it down through the best you can. Just have to be patient with it. As I say, it's far easier with a barbless hook than it is with a barbed. So once I'm happy with the length, I'll just check it, because you can always go back. There we are. Now, when I do that, I actually put the braid through the eye from the underside. So it keeps it nice and straight. That's what it does. And then I can put it into my vise. Just like this. I could have come down a wee bit further, but anyway, it should be fine. And then I'll just trim this. Don't mind it being a wee bit frayed at the end. I'm going to put on an olive thread. I'm just using an 8/0 thread. So straighten the hook up first. Covered in super glue. I've been messing about with super glue. It takes ages to come off. Anyway. Start at the eye. It is a bit in the way, the braid. You just have to, what I normally do, I do it quick so it follows the thread. And I come all the way down, tying this on. If it does tangle up a wee bit, just bring it back. The faster you go, the better. Now this, the fray, just fray at the end here so it ties in. Now, I wouldn't say you could land a tarpon on this. You could maybe land a small one. As I say, these are for sea trout. The sea trout, on average, are probably around, I don't know, it's depending where you are, but if you, a couple of pounds or so. But anyway, once you're happy with this, then you can basically tidy it up, which I'm doing now. Now, a couple of ways you could do. You could just basically tie like a lure at the end, if you want to call it. So a taper. The taper, it actually tapers at the back. So I'm going to use, this is a brown olive Marabou to give a taper at the back. And then we tie this on. You straighten the ends up. So it's a similar colour to the worm, the Predator worm type chenille, if you want to call it. So there we are. Now you could just wind up some of the worm, which you can do. You can take a wee drop of it. I don't know how long it is and it comes out the packet. But you want to try and keep it as long as possible. The way I used to do a lot was when I was doing, what do you call it? I'm just going to use a wire here. A lot of the snakes, I would just, obviously tying, we're using a zonker strip. So I'm kind of going to tie it much like a zonker strip, if you can. Tie it in the same way. So I'm going to put the wire on. I get a wee bit of flashy dubbing. In this case I'm just going to use, this is tactical, it's an olive brown, it's flashy dubbing. So I'm just going to dub that on. Just, you could use a fritz as well, I mean you can use whatever you like. So you just got to manage round the core. You take it up like you were tying the lure. Now you want to get a length of the Predator9 worm. So you're looking at a length of your, probably around, I'm just going to work with but maybe 6 inches or so. But give yourself an extra inch or two, you'll see that when I go up the top. So I'm going to tie this on the top, just the length of the body. So we just catch this on, just much the same way you would probably catch on a zonker strip. I'm trying to save as much of this material as I can, so that's fine. And then what I'm going to do with my wire, use my wire just to hold it on. So you just stretch it slightly and bring your wire up through. I'd be quite close. You want to use a good medium thickness wire, not too thin. So we're really tight, and you can put, as I say, a few turns in. Lift up material. Obviously I do a turn or two at the head area. I usually take the wire round. Marabou, just moisten the Marabou to take it out of the way. I usually wrap the wire around the thread first and then take it up so that it's not going to pull out. Now this worm material, this type of fritz, has basically flexifloss sort of spun through it. It's very like when you see it, it's very like a worm. I'm just making sure there's a few turns in there before and always keep my thread tight when I do this. Bend and break away the wire. And then I'm going to finish by hand so that I can go around the core, around the braid or backing. So just come in, just take your time, it will wrap. You can unwrap it It's much easier to manipulate when you can do it by hand. Now I'm going to just change over here. I'm going to get my whip finisher just because it's a nice smooth end so I can tighten up the whip finish. One of the things about learning how to whip finish by hand is you can do stuff like that. So basically that's it tied on, but what I'd like to do is just to rough up my body, bring out some of the flash, tidy it up. So see, it tapers at the back, so by having the Marabou, so you get a natural sort of like taper, as you see. You tidy this flat fluff up at the back. Just work away, get it to brush it back so it's kind of like just a nice wee lure at the back, if you want to call it that. See what it's like. I'm just going to just draw it back with a hairdryer. See what it's like. It's fine. Okay, now I'm going to get ready to sort of attach the back into my front hook. Now I've got the front hook here, it's the same hook I've used at the back, but I've got a 4mm tungsten bead, painted bead. You can see here. So what I'm going to do is put that in the vise. Well, sorry, first get the length that I want. Now I want to wind some of the frets onto the hook up here. So make sure you're going to have enough to wind on. So I want at least a good inch anyway. And make sure that the braid is shorter than just bring it out a wee bit. So you want it shorter than the frets. So I'm going to tie it in probably around about here. I'll show you once we tied it in. But the braid has to be shorter than the length of the frets because you can't have this tight. And then I'm going to thread on just the same as I did with the first hook. I'm going to slide it through, point first into it. This type of braid, this is just normal backing, and all these backings are much the same. They're made up in the same way. As I said, you could use a nylon braid. It's a wee bit stiffer. It's a wee bit harder to get through the eye of the hook at the back. So now again, you don't want to go much more than the length of the shank of the hook. And you've really got to be just patient with it, go back and forward. It's far easier with the barbless hook. Now it's never always perfect, we just check it though, to see where we are. I want it about the length of the... It's fine. Tie this on, so I'll put it into the vise. See where we are. It's just a wee touch long, but it'll be fine. So what I'm going to do here is come in really tight with the same thread. Pull it up. It will twist slightly, but you just take your time, making sure it's secure first. Now you can fold this back. And secure it on. I'm just going to quickly come down. Just tidy it up. Don't let that go while you're doing it. There's my got a waste piece of thread here, a foot. Take that off. Now the best thing to do is just to put some super glue onto the, or varnish, anything like that, something that's going to obviously help. But it'll not pull out. The more you pull the braid, the tighter it gets. There we are. should do it. Now what I'm going to try first, just a wee quick look, see if this works. I'm going to wind the fritz round the backing. I want to tie it on, see if it stays. Because it's like, if I can do this, it can be the same length. And hopefully I've got enough. And all I'm doing is keeping it tight. Just working all the way up. Even if it's short, I can still add another piece on anyway. So I'm going to stop it here, and then I'm going to catch it just to see if this holds. Or will it just unravel? No, that looks fine. Looks like it's going to hold. Now, the pressure's not on the fritz now, it's completely onto the back end. There's no pressure there at all. So I'm quite happy. I'm actually just going to keep it like that. Now you can obviously try these and let me know how you get on. I mean, it's just an idea. Look, I'm no expert with these type of flies. I have tied these in the past, or not exactly these, but flies with the Zonka strip. Now there's the spare piece, as I say. Just keep a bit of it for winding up, just to finish the body. Give it a good head. You can run the thread through, which I'm quite happy to do that. Take away the excess, it makes it tidier. Just with the thread. Now I'm actually going to use super glue, so I'm running super glue onto my thread. Just going to pull back any fritz. Just put the thread turns in there with the super glue on it. And wet finish. That seemed to work okay. Yeah, I'm going to zoom out because it's a long fly, as they say. And there we go, folks. I wouldn't have tied it unless somebody asked me some questions. It's like a lot of the flies I do tie. I do get asked. That's what. The test is going to be when you go to fish it, but doing it that way seems to have worked. You're always looking for a way to strengthen and make things last longer, and that's a good idea. That this may have been done before. I have no idea. This is basically the first one I've tied, so I don't know. You need to, like anything, when you're tying your own flies, it hurts if you lose the fish on a. But you can't. I don't think you'll not lose a fish with the way this has been done. Yeah, I'm just gonna brush out some of the materials. Just using the Velcro. God, it looks good. Very wormy-like, if you want to call it. It's got a lot of movement. That'll zoom out a wee bit more so you can see the whole thing. You got a lot of movement in that. Let me know what you think. I mean, you're going to be wrong to eventually be right. So if you think that's wrong, I'm quite happy for you to say. But if there's any ideas there, I like the idea of wrapping the core like that. It seemed to work, and then tying it. Once you take it around, tie it here, and it seems to hold it. It's not unraveling in any way. So anyway, folks, there we are. That's my take on the ragworm. As I say, I have, God knows how many times I've been asked, especially in the winter months, which is just now into the new year. People are always asking me to tie flies. I'm not sure when the ragworms start breeding. Somebody out there will tell me, but I think it may be later in the season, or just when it starts to warm up. I'm not sure. But they do swim along the edges. There's lots of them in the fish clock onto them, not just sea trout, other fish. But the guys that asked me to tie could I tie a ragworm, were looking to catch sea trout on it. So anyway, there you are, folks. It's something different, but fun as well. So I enjoyed tying that, and hopefully I may get a chance of fishing one, see what they're like. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and again, thanks for watching.